Ethan Carter stepped off the shuttle, letting the cool breeze of Veralia brush against his face. The planet's surface was alive with color, forests of glowing blue leaves, rivers that shimmered like liquid silver, and mountains that seemed to float in the distant sky. As a xenobiologist, he had seen strange worlds before, but Veralia felt different. It was alive, almost aware, as if every plant, every creature was connected in some invisible web. Ethan adjusted his equipment belt and took a careful step into the forest. His mission was simple: study the Lumari, an intelligent alien species living in harmony with the environment. Humans had only recently discovered them, and few had been granted permission to interact. For Ethan, this was a dream come true. He moved quietly, his eyes scanning the trees. The Lumari were elusive, often hiding among the glowing foliage. Legends described them as peaceful beings, glowing softly in the dark with delicate wings that shimmered in moonlight. They communicated through subtle gestures and sounds that mimicked the wind. To see them in person would be extraordinary. As Ethan walked deeper into the forest, he noticed movement near a riverbank. He crouched behind a rock, careful not to make a sound. There he saw a group of Lumari younglings, no taller than a human child, playing near the water. Their skin glowed faintly, and their wings fluttered as they giggled in high-pitched tones. Ethan smiled. "So they really are as beautiful as the report said," he whispered. He reached for his camera, hoping to capture this moment. But before he could take a picture, a shadow moved across the forest floor. A large predator, something Ethan had never seen before, lunged toward the younglings. Its four legs were powerful and its eyes glowed red. It snapped its jaws as the younglings squealed and tried to escape. Without thinking, Ethan ran forward. He grabbed a fallen branch and swung it at the creature. The predator hissed and turned toward him. Adrenaline surged through Ethan's veins. "Come on, you stupid animal," he shouted, dodging a swipe of its claws. The younglings scrambled behind a tree, their glowing eyes wide with fear. Ethan knew he had only one chance to save them. He remembered the tranquilizer gun in his backpack and fumbled to get it out. The predator lunged again. Ethan aimed carefully and fired. The dart hit the creature, and it let out a loud roar before collapsing, its limbs trembling. Ethan exhaled sharply. "That was close," he muttered. He rushed to the younglings, gently gathering them in his arms. "It's okay. You're safe now." The younglings huddled against him, their wings trembling. Ethan noticed their faint glow pulsing faster, a sign of extreme fear. He spoke softly, hoping to calm them. "I won't let anything hurt you." One of the younglings, braver than the others, reached out a tiny hand toward Ethan. Its glow dimmed slightly, then brightened again. Ethan realized that the gesture was a sign of trust. He smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. For the first time, he truly connected with an alien species. Suddenly, movement in the trees caught his eye. Ethan froze. More predators were coming, drawn by the noise. He knew he couldn't outrun them all. Thinking fast, he scanned the area for a safe place. There, a hollow in a giant tree high above the ground could serve as temporary refuge. He ran, carrying the younglings carefully. The predators followed, but the creatures were slower than Ethan anticipated. With a leap, he reached the hollow and placed the younglings inside. He climbed up, blocking the entrance with a fallen branch. From inside the hollow, Ethan watched as the predators circled the tree, growling. "Stay calm," he whispered to the younglings. "I'll figure something out." Hours passed. The predators eventually gave up, disappearing into the forest. Ethan remained with the younglings, talking to them in soothing tones. He didn't know if they understood his words, but the glow of their bodies slowed, showing they were less afraid. As night fell, the forest came alive with glowing plants and animals. Ethan marveled at the beauty around him, but he knew he had to get the younglings to safety. He waited until dawn, then climbed down carefully. The younglings followed him willingly, as if they trusted him completely. By mid-morning, Ethan arrived at a clearing where he spotted the Lumari village, a collection of giant floating trees with bridges made of woven vines. Lumari beings of various ages floated gracefully, their wings shimmering in the morning light. Ethan stepped forward, holding the younglings gently. The village fell silent. Every Lumari turned to look at the small group. Then slowly the elders approached. One of them, taller than the others and with a regal glow, extended a hand toward Ethan. "You saved our young," the elder said in a soft, melodic tone. Though Ethan didn't understand the language completely, he sensed gratitude. The elder nodded, a gesture of respect. Ethan lowered the younglings to the ground. They ran to their families, chirping happily. The elders spoke among themselves, their gestures precise and elegant. One of them pointed toward the sky, then back at Ethan. It was clear they wanted him to follow. He walked through the village, noticing the advanced structures intertwined with nature. The Lumari clearly valued harmony with the environment. Bridges curved gracefully between the floating trees, and luminous plants lit the paths. Ethan realized this civilization had mastered technology without harming their world, a balance humans often struggled with. Finally, he arrived at the center of the village, where a larger tree rose above the rest. From its branches descended Empress Scifi, glowing brighter than anyone else. Her presence commanded attention, but there was a gentleness in her eyes. "You saved our younglings," she said, her voice like a soft song carried on the wind. Ethan bowed slightly, unsure of how to respond. I just did what anyone would do," he said humbly. "I couldn't let them get hurt." Scifi studied him for a long moment, her glowing eyes inspecting him carefully. Then she nodded. "Your courage is rare and your heart is true. You will come with me. There is much to discuss." Ethan felt a mix of awe and nervousness. Following her, he climbed into a chamber high in the tree. From there, he could see the entire village, the forest, and distant mountains shimmering under the sun. It was breathtaking. As they spoke, Ethan realized that his actions had not only saved the younglings, but had also earned the trust of an entire civilization. Empress Scifi asked him questions about Earth, about humans, and about how he had thought so quickly in danger. Ethan answered as best he could, explaining human resilience, curiosity, and ingenuity. The Empress listened intently, clearly fascinated. "You think differently than we do," she said. "Humans are unusual, but your bravery proves that your kind has great value." Ethan smiled. "I just hope my actions were enough to keep your young safe." "They were," Scifi replied. "More than enough." She motioned for him to rest. "Tomorrow we will discuss what this means for you and for us." As night fell, Ethan lay on a soft platform in the chamber, looking out at the glowing forest below. The younglings were safe, the Lumari trusted him, and he had met the Empress herself. He had expected to study an alien civilization, but he hadn't expected to become part of it so quickly. Ethan closed his eyes, feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety. The universe was bigger than he had ever imagined, and humans could truly make a difference even on worlds far from home. Little did he know, his journey with the Lumari had only just begun. The events of this day would set in motion a chain of challenges, adventures, and bonds that would change not only his life but the fate of Veralia itself. And for the first time in his life, Ethan felt the weight and the honor of being in the right place at the right time. Ethan Carter followed Empress Scifi through the winding pathways of her magnificent palace. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The palace was built within a colossal floating tree that glimmered with an inner light. Bridges made of intertwined vines and glowing fibers connected different levels, creating a labyrinth of elegance and natural wonder. Lumari citizens floated gracefully along the paths, their wings softly shimmering with every movement. Ethan could not help but feel both awed and nervous. He had come to Veralia to study the Lumari, to observe their culture and ways, but being invited to the Empress's court was far beyond anything he had expected. "You are brave, Ethan Carter," Scifi said, her glowing eyes fixed on him. "Not many humans would risk themselves for our younglings. Your actions have earned the respect of our people." Ethan shook his head slightly, feeling a little embarrassed. "I didn't do it for respect, I couldn't let them get hurt. They were so small, so helpless." Scifi nodded as if understanding completely. Compassion is a rare gift, but courage and intelligence combined make a leader. Ethan looked around the court as they walked. Other Lumari approached, bowing gracefully, their wings folding behind them. Some whispered among themselves, their gestures precise and quick. Ethan noticed that a few older Lumari, clearly part of the ruling council, exchanged glances. They seemed skeptical, watching him closely. "You are curious about humans," Scifi continued. "I have heard of your world, but hearing about it from you, it is different. Tell me what drives your people to act so bravely." Ethan took a deep breath. "I think humans survive because we adapt. We learn quickly. We care about each other. And when we see someone in danger, we try to help. It doesn't always work perfectly, but we try." Celira considered this, her glow pulsing softly. Adaptability and empathy, two qualities that could strengthen our people. Perhaps your kind has more to offer than we imagined. As they approached a central platform, Ethan noticed a holographic map floating in the air. It showed Virelia's forests, rivers, and cities. Celira gestured toward certain areas, pointing out regions where Lumari settlements were at risk due to rogue factions. These groups believe in controlling the Younglings to gain power, Celira explained. They are dangerous, but our people have always sought peaceful solutions. Your bravery has shown them that humans can influence events in ways we did not expect. Ethan listened carefully. He could see the problem clearly. Maybe I can help, he said cautiously. If you allow me, I can come up with a plan to protect the Younglings and prevent conflict. Celira's eyes brightened. You would do this for us? I don't know. I just know I can try. Ethan replied honestly. I've faced dangerous creatures before, and I think I understand tactics. And I know humans are creative. Maybe together we can find a solution. Celira studied him for a long moment, then smiled. Your honesty and humility make you rare. Very few beings in any species would offer help without expecting something in return. I will consider your offer. For now you will rest and learn our ways. Ethan followed her to a chamber filled with soft glowing light. The walls were alive with moving images of the forest, showing birds flying, rivers flowing, and Lumari citizens in their daily routines. Everything was connected, peaceful and yet highly organized. As he rested, he reflected on the past few hours. He had gone from being an observer to becoming part of a civilization he barely understood. He felt excitement mixed with anxiety. Could humans truly help the Lumari? Could he live up to their expectations? The next day, Ethan was invited to a formal council meeting. He entered a large chamber where the ruling Lumari sat in a semicircle, their wings folding elegantly behind them. He noticed some members looking skeptical, whispering among themselves, but others seemed intrigued. Celira introduced him formally. This is Ethan Carter, the human who saved our younglings. He has offered his assistance to help protect our people and ensure the safety of our children. Murmurs spread across the room. One elder, a tall Lumari with silver-tinted wings, spoke. Can a human truly understand our ways? How can we trust one so different from us? Ethan stepped forward calmly. I may not know everything about your customs, but I understand danger and how to protect those who cannot protect themselves. I also know that humans learn quickly, and we can think in ways that are different from any species you have met. I want to help, not for power or recognition, but because it is the right thing to do. The council fell silent. Celira's glowing eyes met his. You see, my people, courage is not limited to your species. Sometimes it comes from those who are willing to act when others hesitate. After a pause, Celira nodded to the council. Let him work with us. Let him show you how humans can think differently and contribute to our safety. The elders murmured, some reluctantly agreeing. Ethan felt a mix of relief and pride. It was not only a matter of safety, but also a chance to prove humans could make a difference in the universe. Celira then showed Ethan the Lumari archives, vast databases of knowledge stored in floating crystal spheres. He learned about their culture, history, and past conflicts. He discovered that rogue factions often targeted the younglings because controlling them gave influence over entire communities. The stakes were high and any mistake could be disastrous. Ethan spent hours studying the maps, analyzing patrol patterns, and understanding how the Lumari defended themselves. He noticed weaknesses in their defense strategies, areas where humans' different way of thinking could help. He suggested creating traps using natural materials, setting up safe hiding zones, and teaching the younglings simple evasive movements. Celira listened intently, impressed by his insight. Your ideas are unusual, but they make sense. Humans are clever in ways we cannot always predict. As the day progressed, Ethan also spent time with the younglings he had saved. They recognized him immediately, their wings glowing brighter whenever he approached. They chirped and hovered around him, clearly trusting him completely. One small youngling tugged on his sleeve as if asking for reassurance. Ethan smiled and knelt down. Don't worry, I'll keep you safe, I promise. The youngling's glow pulsed gently as if showing gratitude. Ethan began to understand the depth of his responsibility. It was more than just protecting children. It was protecting a civilization. And somehow he felt ready to face the challenge. Humans thrived under pressure, and he had never backed down from danger before. Evenings in the palace were quiet. Ethan would watch the stars from the floating platforms, reflecting on the vastness of the universe. He thought about Earth, his family, and how far he had come, and yet he realized that courage was universal. The same bravery that allowed him to save the younglings could help guide an entire civilization through peril. One evening, Scifi invited him to the palace balcony. The wind carried soft musical tones, part of the natural language of the Lumari. She spoke softly, almost to herself, but he understood the meaning. "You have changed the course of our world with a single act of bravery," she said, "and yet you do not seek glory. That is what makes you remarkable." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. "I don't know if I am remarkable," he replied honestly. "I just did what felt right." Scifi smiled. Sometimes what feels right is enough to change everything. As he left the balcony, Ethan realized that his connection with the Lumari went beyond heroism. They had accepted him, trusted him, and now looked to him as someone who could help guide them through uncertain times. But not everyone was happy. From the shadows, certain council members whispered among themselves, clearly suspicious of the human in their midst. Ethan would soon learn that bravery alone was not enough. He would need wisdom, strategy, and the ability to navigate alien politics. Yet for now, he allowed himself a moment of peace. The younglings were safe. The Empress had shown faith in him, and he had a place in a world far from home. Tomorrow, he would begin planning. He would prepare strategies to protect the Lumari, using both human ingenuity and their knowledge. It would be a test of courage, intelligence, and diplomacy, but Ethan felt ready. Humans had always thrived in the unknown, and this was no different. As the glow of the Lumari city shimmered in the night, Ethan Carter understood one simple truth. Sometimes, the smallest acts of bravery could lead to the greatest adventures. And he was only at the beginning of his, Ethan Carter woke early, feeling the cool, glowing light of Veralia filtering through the palace windows. Today was the day he had been preparing for. Rogue factions of the Lumari had been spotted near the northern forest, where they had tried to capture younglings before. This time, Ethan would not wait for luck, he would act. Empress Scifi met him at the palace bridge. Her presence was calm but commanding, her glow brighter than usual. "Ethan," she said, "we have no time to waste. The younglings are vulnerable. Your ideas, we must put them into action." Ethan nodded. "I'm ready. Tell me what you know and I'll plan accordingly." Scifi led him to a floating platform overlooking a holographic map. Ethan studied it carefully. The rogue factions were moving quickly, using hidden paths through dense forests. They had already captured some supplies from smaller villages, showing they were organized and dangerous. "This area," Scifi pointed, "is their current base. They are clever, but they do not expect interference from outside their kind." Ethan's mind raced. He thought about human strategies, about ambushes, decoys, and traps. Humans had faced unpredictable enemies on Earth, and he knew their creativity could help the Lumari. "I have a plan," he said. "We will split into 2 teams. One team will create distractions to draw the rogues' attention. The second team, me included, will move quietly to rescue the younglings and lead them to safety. We can use the terrain to our advantage and, well, humans think differently. I have ideas for simple traps using natural materials, vines, and Lumari light crystals." Scifi studied him, her expression serious. "It is risky." "Are you certain?" Ethan nodded. "I've faced worse. And these younglings, they need us." The Empress gave a small nod and Ethan set to work. He coordinated with the Lumari guardians, teaching them techniques humans used in stealth and strategy. They practiced moving quietly, creating diversions and signaling without alerting the enemy. By mid-afternoon, everything was ready. Ethan, along with a small team of elite Lumari warriors, approached the rogue base. The forest was alive with sounds, leaves rustling, creatures chirping, and the soft glow of luminescent plants guiding their path. Ethan felt a thrill of anticipation. "This way," he whispered, pointing to a narrow path hidden beneath a dense canopy. The team moved carefully, blending with shadows. Every step required patience, every breath measured. As they neared the rogue encampment, Ethan noticed signs of the younglings, broken branches, faint glows, and small tracks. They were close. The rogue faction had set simple traps to slow pursuers, but Ethan's preparation allowed them to avoid every obstacle. Suddenly, One of the younglings appeared, captured and held in a cage-like structure made of glowing vines. Its wings were folded tightly and it trembled with fear. "Don't worry," Ethan whispered. "We've got you." He gestured to the Lumari warriors. Using a combination of hand signals and soft sounds, they created a distraction. Ethan moved quietly, cutting the glowing vines with a small tool. The youngling chirped softly, recognizing him immediately. The rogue faction noticed too late. They lunged toward Ethan and the youngling, but he had already anticipated their moves. Using a series of quick maneuvers, Ethan dodged their attacks, leading the youngling toward a hidden path. He used vines and branches to create obstacles, slowing the rogues. As they ran, Ethan realized more younglings were hidden nearby. The rogue faction had captured several, intending to move them deeper into the forest. Ethan called to the Lumari warriors, who split into two groups. One group created loud diversions, drawing the rogues away. Ethan and a second group moved silently, freeing the remaining younglings and guiding them to safety. Hours passed in tense silence. The forest was full of danger, but Ethan's planning worked. The younglings followed him without hesitation, their glowing wings lighting the way. Every step required focus, every sound could betray them. But Ethan's courage never faltered. At one point, they encountered a massive predator, far larger than the ones Ethan had faced before. It blocked the path, growling and circling. Ethan knew they could not fight it directly. He scanned the area, spotting a cliffside with hanging vines and glowing plants. "Follow me," he whispered. Using quick thinking, he led the group to the cliffside. They moved along the vines, swinging silently over the predator. It roared in frustration but could not reach them. Ethan breathed a sigh of relief as they reached solid ground on the other side. Finally, after hours of careful maneuvering, they arrived at a hidden clearing, a safe place the younglings knew well. Their families were waiting, glowing brightly with relief. The younglings rushed into their parents' arms, chirping and fluttering their wings excitedly. Salira arrived moments later, observing the scene. Her eyes glowed with admiration. "You have done what many thought impossible," she said. "You risked your life and succeeded. You have proven the value of human courage and ingenuity." Ethan smiled, exhausted but proud. "I only did what needed to be done. Humans survive by adapting, and sometimes that means acting quickly to protect those who cannot protect themselves." The Empress's gaze softened. "Your actions have earned the trust of my people. They see humans differently now. Not as outsiders, but as allies." As the sun set, the Lumari held a small celebration to honor the bravery of Ethan and the warriors. Music floated through the forest, glowing lights shimmered, and the younglings played joyfully, safe once more. Ethan felt a profound sense of accomplishment. He had entered this world as an observer, a visitor, but now he had become a protector, someone who had earned respect through action. Humans were different, yes, but they had qualities that mattered everywhere: courage, intelligence, and empathy. Later that evening, Salira spoke with Ethan privately. "Your actions today will be remembered for generations," she said. "Not just because you saved the younglings, but because you showed what humans are capable of. You have a rare combination of courage and wisdom." Ethan nodded humbly. I did what I thought was right, and that is why you are remarkable," she replied. "Sometimes doing what is right is more powerful than any force or weapon." The experience bonded Ethan with the Lumari in ways he had not expected. The younglings now saw him as a mentor, someone they could trust completely. And the Empress, she had begun to see a potential ally and friend in him, someone who could help guide her people through challenges that no Lumari had faced before. Even as night fell, Ethan could feel the forest alive around him, glowing softly with the luminescence of plants and creatures. He reflected on the events of the day, the fear, the danger, the quick decisions that had made all the difference. And he knew this was only the beginning. Rogue factions might still exist and challenges would continue. But Ethan had proven that humans could rise to the occasion. They could think differently, act decisively, and inspire trust. That was the essence of what made humans valuable, even on alien worlds. And as he rested under the glowing canopy, watching the younglings play safely in the distance, Ethan felt a sense of purpose he had never known before. He was not just an observer. He was part of something bigger. He was part of a story that would change a civilization, and perhaps in some small way the universe itself. The morning sun spilled its golden light over the floating city of Veralia. Ethan Carter stood at the palace balcony, watching the younglings play beneath the glowing trees. Their laughter, soft and musical, echoed through the forest. The memory of yesterday's rescue still lingered in his mind. He had faced danger and uncertainty, yet somehow succeeded. Empress Celira approached silently, her glowing form moving gracefully across the balcony. "You have done well, Ethan," she said, her voice gentle. "Your courage has inspired many, not only the younglings but our warriors, and even some of the council who doubted you." Ethan turned to her. "I didn't do it for praise," he said quietly. "I just wanted to make sure they were safe." Celira smiled, a soft glow radiating from her wings. "That is why your actions are extraordinary. Bravery with humility. It is rare among any species." Over the next few days, Ethan was formally recognized in a ceremony attended by the entire Lumari Council. The Empress presented him with a ceremonial medal, a small, glowing crystal suspended in a delicate frame of woven vines. It pulsed softly, a symbol of gratitude and honor. "You have proven your worth," Celira announced to the assembly. "You have acted with courage, intelligence, and compassion. Ethan Carter, human protector of our younglings, is hereby recognized by the crown." Applause echoed throughout the chamber. Even the council members who had been skeptical nodded with respect. Ethan felt a wave of pride but remained humble. He knew that recognition was not the goal. It was the trust and safety of the younglings that mattered most. After the ceremony, Celira took him aside. "Ethan, there is something more I wish to discuss with you," she said, her glow intensifying slightly. "Your presence among us, it is unusual, rare. You have qualities that go beyond mere bravery. I believe our people could benefit from your guidance. And I feel a bond with you unlike any I have known." Ethan blinked, surprised. "A bond?" he asked. "Yes," Celira said softly. "You have saved lives, earned respect, and shown kindness. In our tradition, we honor those who act with such courage and care. I wish for you to remain close, not as a visitor but as a trusted ally, even a chosen mate." Ethan's heart raced. He had expected gratitude, perhaps friendship, but this was something more. He looked at her eyes and saw sincerity, wisdom, and curiosity. I am honored," he said. "I will do my best to help and to understand your people." Celira nodded. "That is all I ask. Together, we can guide Veralia into a new era of safety and trust." In the following days, Ethan spent more time learning Lumari culture and traditions. He observed their council meetings, listened to debates, and began contributing ideas for strategic planning. His human perspective often offered solutions the Lumari had never considered. He also spent time with the younglings, who had grown fond of him. They followed him wherever he went, their wings shimmering in excitement. One youngling in particular, a small creature named Luma, would perch on his shoulder, chirping softly whenever danger approached. Ethan found their trust and affection heartwarming. The bond with Celira also deepened. They spent long hours talking about their worlds, their values, and their hopes. She told him stories of Verelia's history, the challenges her people had faced, and the principles of Lumari leadership. Ethan shared tales of Earth, of human struggles and triumphs, and the lessons he had learned from survival and science. Through these conversations, they developed mutual respect and admiration. Ethan realized that leadership was not just about strength, but about empathy and understanding. Celira saw in Ethan a perspective that complemented her own. Human creativity and quick thinking could balance Lumari wisdom and patience. One afternoon, while walking through a glowing garden, Celira paused. "Ethan, do you see the connection between our worlds?" she asked. He looked around, taking in the beauty of the bioluminescent flora. I do. Both of our species value life, community, and growth. Humans act quickly, sometimes recklessly, but with intention. You plan carefully, thoughtfully. Together, we can combine both strengths. Salira's glow brightened, almost radiantly. Exactly. And that is why I wish for you to remain by my side. Not just for protection, but for guidance and partnership. Ethan smiled. I will stay, and I will do my best to honor your trust. Over the next weeks, Ethan helped the Lumari develop new strategies for protecting their younglings and cities. He suggested creating hidden refuges, emergency signaling systems, and training exercises to prepare for unexpected threats. The Lumari were amazed at the human ability to think quickly and adapt. Even the skeptical council members began to appreciate Ethan's ideas. They saw the benefits of combining human innovation with Lumari wisdom. Slowly, they accepted him as part of their society, a bridge between worlds. As the sun set over Veralia, Ethan stood beside Salira on the palace balcony. The younglings played below, their laughter carrying through the forest. I never imagined I could feel so connected to another world, Ethan said softly. Salira looked at him, her glow gentle. You have earned more than connection. You have earned respect, trust, and admiration. Your presence has changed the hearts of my people. Ethan realized she was right. What had begun as a single act of bravery, rescuing the younglings, had blossomed into something far greater. He was not just a visitor. He was a protector, a mentor, and a valued member of Verelia's society. And as he looked out over the glowing forest, he knew that this was only the beginning of a journey that would test courage, wisdom, and the bonds between worlds. Days turned into weeks, and Ethan Carter found himself fully immersed in the life of Verelia. The younglings were thriving. Lumari society had begun to embrace human ideas, and even some of the rogue factions were showing signs of cooperation. Ethan's influence had grown. The council consulted him on strategies for defense, trade, and environmental management. Humans, he realized, had a unique perspective, one that combined creativity, quick thinking, and courage. It was a perspective that complemented the Lumari's wisdom and patience. Salira often met with him privately, discussing plans for Verelia's future. She wanted to strengthen bonds between different communities, prepare for potential threats, and teach the younglings resilience. Ethan contributed practical ideas, drawing from human problem-solving and ingenuity. One day, Salira led him to a high plateau overlooking the forest. Ethan, she said, look at what we have built together. The younglings are safe. The villages are more secure. Our people are learning to trust new ideas. Ethan smiled, taking in the view. The forests glowed softly in the evening light. Rivers shimmered, and Lumari citizens moved gracefully between their floating homes. It's beautiful, he said. And it's proof that humans and Lumari can work together, that we can learn from each other. Salira nodded. Indeed. And this is only the beginning. The rogue factions, they still exist. But now they see humans not as outsiders, but as allies. You have changed perceptions, Ethan. You have helped create a new era for Verelia. Ethan felt a deep sense of pride. What had begun as a single act of bravery, rescuing the younglings, had grown into something far greater. He had earned the trust of an entire civilization, and in doing so he had proven that humans could rise to challenges beyond their own world. As the days passed, the Lumari and humans worked together to strengthen defenses, improve education for the younglings, and expand communication networks. Ethan introduced methods for planning and problem-solving that were new to the Lumari, while learning from their wisdom in return. The younglings in particular flourished under his guidance. They learned to navigate the forest safely, to signal for help in emergencies, and to understand the value of teamwork. Luma, the small youngling who had first trusted him, often perched on Ethan's shoulder, chirping happily as he taught others. One evening, as they celebrated the safety and prosperity of their community, Salira stood beside Ethan. The festival was alive with music, light, and laughter. Lumari of all ages floated through the trees, glowing with joy. You have done more than I could have imagined, Salira said softly. You have shown my people what humans are capable of, and you have reminded us that courage and kindness are universal. not limited to any species. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. "I only did what I thought was right," he replied. "But I'm glad it helped." Salira smiled. "It has helped more than you know. You are part of our world now. Your actions have shaped a new path for Veralia, one of trust, cooperation, and hope. Together we will face the future, humans and Lumari alike." As the festival continued, Ethan realized the truth of her words. Humans had a unique strength, the ability to adapt, to think creatively, and to act courageously in times of need. And now that strength had merged with the wisdom of the Lumari to create something extraordinary. The Empress and Ethan stood side by side, watching the younglings play and the people celebrate. The forest glowed around them, a testament to life, harmony, and the bonds that had been forged through bravery and trust. Ethan knew that this was not the end of challenges, but it was the start of a new era. He had become more than a visitor. He was a protector, a mentor, a trusted ally, and a symbol of what humans could achieve when faced with the unknown. And as he looked at Salira, glowing with pride and trust, Ethan realized that sometimes 1A